Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Mainstream Indie Music Channel. Yes, I have officially changed the name of the channel. I don't know why it took me so long. It didn't really make a lot of sense to just keep it Mainstream Indie, especially since, we talk about music. That's the primary focus. So, anyway, I changed the name of it. And this week's episode is a special one. We do this every once in a while, I'd say every 2 or 3 months. We kind of keep you up to date with what's happening around the indie music sphere, I guess you could call it. The big reason why I do this is because, the main push of the modern day indie music scene happened in the early 2000s, right? The rise of bands like Arcade Fire, Arctic Monkeys, Block Party, Yeah Yeah Yeahs, Strokes, so on and so forth. So it's been a while. It's been over 20 years since all of these bands got big. Some indie groups are no longer together, but what I've noticed is, especially since COVID, a lot of the bands from back then, maybe just due to time even, but maybe just because we were all locked up, kind of have given the idea of a second life to these bands. So that's why I wanted to cover every once in a while just to keep you updated and see, well, what's going on. So the biggest one that I have, the very first story, is the Gorillaz. Unlike a lot of the bands, they have been together. Damon Albarn just keeps going, just keeps producing and making music for the love of it. And so they have a new album coming out. And actually, more than likely by the time this video comes out, their ninth album, The Mountain, will have been released. So definitely look forward, check that out. I will be listening to it. I've never been a diehard Gorillaz fan, but I mean, especially a couple of their albums I've listened to through and through. Plastic Beach is maybe, I think, my favorite one that they've ever done. Even though Cracker Island I also thought was pretty good. But anyway, SNL. Why have they never been on is the key question. They are set to make their debut this spring. Well, rest assured, it's nothing personal against SNL. There's no weird vendetta that they have between each other. But what's kind of interesting is they have hinted that because of their complex setup and maybe even featuring their digital performers, that may be what we're looking at here in this future appearance on SNL. Will they play new songs off their newest album? Probably. Will they incorporate maybe some of their older discography into the performance? I really hope so. There's so much that they can pick from, and I can't wait to see what is going to happen coming up. Okay, the next set of news, the Foo Fighters. They are kind of taking their very next steps forward. Now, granted, after the death of Taylor Hawkins, they were in the middle of a tour, and they continued with the tour, after a little bit of a hiatus after everything was said and done. But the interesting thing is the moves that they've made as a band. Now, don't get me wrong. I can't imagine losing a longtime friend like that. But, they made the decision to keep on going as a band. And who they decided to go with was Josh Freese, who had a long career in the music industry, especially with the band Nine Inch Nails. And so they moved forward with him. They finished the tour with him. And then after it was over, they went on kind of their first official break that they've had in a long time as a band. And they took that time to kind of regroup and decide what they wanted to do. And supposedly, what has been said so far was they moved on from Josh Freese at that moment after the tour was over. I mean, of course, we don't know, but he also has not said anything bad about the group. And they have brought back Elon Rubin, who has been discussed on this channel. He's done a lot of work in the music scene, especially in like the alternative and rock scene, playing with Nine Inch Nails and also with Angels and Airwaves. And I believe he's had stints with the Foo Fighters before. So they have released a new single as well. And definitely, I anticipate that they are also working on a new album soon to come. And yep, I just looked it up. That is the truth. They are working on their next album, Your Favorite Toy, and that is going to come out about mid-April of this year. So Can't wait for that, to see what new music of the Foo Fighters will partake in. Sorry about that. I probably had a stroke right at the end of recording that. I don't know what happened there. The next news is about Thundercat. I mean, I have to do a video on him on this channel pretty soon. And I know, like, he kind of leans on the pop side, don't get me wrong. He's done a lot of work with pop artists, but he's also done so much work with indie artists and alternative artists, and just kind of done his own thing. I think it would just be really cool to kind of just give his discography a look and his career breakdown. So expect that pretty soon. I think that'd be a really cool video. But anyway, speaking of that, he is also releasing new music pretty soon. He's hinted at it and released a few singles. But what's really interesting is he's kind of reworked some work with Mac Miller. And both combining that song and his own personal music in the alternative charts right now. Not the, the mainstream top 100 or whatever, but in the alternative top music charts. He is in 2 of the top 11 songs. So he's got 2 hits in the top 11. And I believe the song that he did with Mac Miller is number 1 right now on the alternative charts. Yeah, so kind of throwback, kind of seeing Mac Miller and Thundercat's name together after so many years is such like a cool kind of revisit, throwback to the 2010s. So they are currently at the number 1 spot right now. And what's kind of cool too, if you look down the list of churches, did a cover of Such Great Heights. I think they're in the top 20. So once again, I've done a video on that song and touched on it a couple times. So the fact that it still to this day continues to find an audience is pretty cool. Leading us to the final story now. Two Door Cinema Club is going to be the last bit of news that we have for you guys here this week. Of course, they have had a career phenomenal resurgence. I don't even know how to explain it. It's something that I might even have to do a deep dive into, because I've talked about them as a band in general and in their hit song, What You Know. But I think this resurgence definitely needs to be looked at, because they are just exploding ever since pretty much COVID, and when I think like TikTok blew up. They are just exploding in popularity. To celebrate the 15th year, absolutely wild, of their debut album, Tourist History, they're going on a massive tour, and it is going to be capped off with a huge Madison Square Garden show. So what do you guys think of all the news? Comment below. See you next.